Ehle. This is my second video for virtualsheetmusic.com, and my friend Helen has written in asking for help in the Mendelssohn Concerto with both the saltando passage in the cadenza and the introductory passage intonation ideas. So let's get started. Okay, we're in the cadenza in the first movement of the Mendelssohn, and we're after the last fermata. Find the last fermata and count in 10 bars. Now most editions will put the 16th notes with staccato dots, the 10th bar in. They'll start it on beat 2. So beat 1, it says, is on the string, legato, and then you start saltando on beat 2. I did just see an edition last week that started it on beat 1. So anyway, we have to learn how to get the bow to start bouncing. The traditional way to do this is to just flick your wrist on the down bows. Some people will flick it and then flick it again on the up bows. But let's do it on open G instead of playing the written notes. So what I'm going to do is go up bow on the open G and then drop my wrist really quickly. I taught a lesson on this once before, it's still in there somewhere, but anyway, what I want you to do is kick the bow off the string and then just let it bounce on its own. This is ricochet. See how it wants to go? Now if you have a lot of trouble with it, you could try lifting your second and fourth finger and then make sure your thumb is not squeezing and put the bow hairs really flat. So you're just barely cradling. By lifting those, it just allows it to bounce a lot. And then you might put your pinky back down, lift your second, and see if you have enough control. Sometimes it gets too bouncy. And then put your 2 back down. Okay, so the next thing to do is to learn how to string cross. We're just going to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I did an up bow on the string and then 4 down bows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this time we're going to string cross. So go up on the G and then drop your whole arm. Then after you can do that, try and turn your bow around and play a second E. Okay, now if you give it a good kick on the down bow, you can actually get back to your starting point. And then you kick it again. So you can practice that. Like I said, some people like to do a kick on the second E. Then you go back and just put your finger patterns in and learn it. Now at the end of it, we start, it's what, piano? No, fortissimo, then pianissimo, and then it crescendos at the end. At the end, the part says legato that I'm looking at. Legato, that would mean just at the very, say the last 4 or 5 bars, go on the string so that you can really make this push to the conclusion of this, okay? So now let's talk about the introduction, the beginning of the piece, and intonation, okay? This is back to the beginning of the piece, the beginning of the first movement of the Mendelssohn Concerto. I've had a lot of students struggle with this because they weren't confident in their shifting. So when you start, the traditional way that most people do this is you start on a 3 and you shift to a 4 and then another 4 and then you bring your 4 down. Okay, so those 2 shifts. The first shift, I'm in second position. Go to 4th position. I'll show you another alternative, or an alternative finger into this in a moment. Then 6th. Okay? So you might practice just finding 4th and finding 6th over and over, doing 3 times in a row, and be confident with that. Then the next thing is you need to learn how to connect through your shifts. I've talked about this before, an auxiliary note. Creating an auxiliary note with the old finger, the finger is down before the shift. So when I do this, my 1 is the finger that's down before the shift. So I'm shifting to my new position on that 1. And at first you might hear the note that it creates in your new key before you drop your new finger. So the first shift is a G up to, actually, I know it's a written E, but your first finger will create a B. So this. And you could do it slowly at first. And then the second shift, you're on the B, the 1. It goes up and creates a D. And then you drop your 4. And you can practice hearing that. I also like to feel the base of my thumb kind of contact the wood. Okay? Then you have to hide it a little bit. So what you want to do is release the finger weights during the shift, so it's not making a big slide. Understand? Okay? So those are auxiliary notes I'm creating. Practice your shifts. But let me show you another fingering in case you don't like it. You can go to 5th position on the 3, and then your 1's going to be a half step too high, so you have to extend back to get the B. Don't move your hand back, just your 1. Now at that point you can extend your 4 up an extra half step to get the G, and then bring it back half step. That way you do it with 1 shift instead of 2. Anyway, there we go. There are some ideas for Helen in the Mendelssohn Concerto First Movement. Good luck.